of modern art, especially in the avant-garde movement in early 20th century Paris. Author and Paris Muse Guide Dr. Lauren Jimerson is working to shift the narrative by spotlighting pioneering modern women artists in her recent book, Painting Her Pleasure. This week, we'll be exploring the Russian artist and Cubist painter Marie Vassilieff. Lauren, thank you very much for joining us here on the program today. Let us talk about Marie Vassilieff. Who exactly was she?
So it's a pleasure, first of all, to be here, Delano. And so Marie Vassilieff was a pioneering artist who played a significant role in the Parisian avant-garde. So she was born in 1884 in Russia and moved to Paris in 1905. She studied with Matisse, and then she befriended and collaborated with important artists like Modigliani, Chagall, and Soutine. And in this photograph, this takes us back to the summer of 1916. We are looking at La Rotonde, the famous cafe, and we have a wonderful group of artists and writers, including Max Jacob and Pablo Picasso. The petite woman in the group is dressed in this tailored jacket and a wide-brimmed hat. Her face is in shadow. So who was this woman? She was Marie Vassilieff. So an incredibly important artist who played an integral role in the Parisian avant-garde, and I'm working to make her story heard through my book, Painting Her Pleasure.
It sounds like she was quite a trailblazer. How did she get to become such a prominent figure?
That is a great question. So she just kind of jumped into the Parisian avant-garde scene, which was at the time Montparnasse. So we're in the south part of Paris, the left bank, and this was home to important artists and a hub of activity. So she is going to study with Matisse, and she may have also studied at an important academy, La Palette, before opening her own academy in 1912, the Academy Marie Vassilieff on Avenue du Maine in Montparnasse. And at this academy, she is going to run things her way, in a very modern way. She's going to allow artists to study from the live model, both male and female models of different genders, different races. We have students also of different genders. So this was revolutionary and egalitarian for her to do this. Plus, the instruction was laissez-faire. Artists were instructing each other rather than having a teacher do this. So her academy was revolutionary, but during the war, World War I, things are going to shift. And she's going to turn her academy into a canteen. And this is a fantastic image that she made of a very important event that happened in her canteen, the famous banquet for the artist Braque, who had just returned from the war. He's injured. You can see him with this cap on his head, and you can see Matisse, who's holding a turkey, and Marie Vassilieff is with a knife. Now, coming in through the door is Modigliani, who caused a ruckus, and Matisse saved the day. So this was a place where artists came for joy and merriment during the dark times of the war. It closed in 1917 due to a number of things that happened in Marie Vassilieff's life, including the October Revolution and her and her studio being completely ransacked during the war. So it was a very difficult time for this artist and many others.
What was it that Vassilieff and her avant-garde colleagues were trying to convey through their style?
Absolutely. So she is doing a lot of different things. And if we look at her Cubist work, so this is one prime example. This is called Femme Assise, or Seated Woman. So what she's doing is taking a step forward from the Renaissance. Since the time of the Renaissance, artists have been painting the body and space using linear perspective, one-point perspective. Instead, she's going to use multiple perspectives to show her figure. So you have an array of shapes and sliding and shifting forms. It's all very confusing. It's all dynamic, and it's meant to capture the rapidity of modern life. Think of all the inventions in the early 20th century. The automobile, the airplane, cinema, x-rays. This was an incredibly exciting time, and artists were responding to that with their dynamic works through styles like Cubism, in which Vassilieff played a really important role.
Now, given that she had this innovative approach to Cubism, how did she break barriers down and go against, what was being done? And could you tell us more about some of her Cubist works and why they're so important today?
Absolutely. So one thing that she did that her colleagues weren't necessarily doing, she was really pushing the boundaries of playing with gender and race in an interesting way. So here we have a female and a male Cubist nude that she painted. Now this painting is fascinating because it is actually double-sided. I'm showing you both nudes side by side, but it's double-sided, so it's one work, and the figures are painted in reverse. So in order to see them, you'd have to flip the canvas upside down. So it's very strange. And what is she trying to convey here? What I've seen across these two images here is that she is assimilating two different genders, and she shows an array. Maybe she had been looking at models of different ethnicities as well. So it's all very befuddling. At the end of the day, she's telling us that gender is just one part of identity and not the most important part, and really pushing the boundaries with her androgynous nudes.
Now, this all sounds incredibly innovative, isn't it? How did her dolls set her apart from other artists, and what makes them significant?
So after World War I, she is going to innovate and create an entirely new art form. And this is the poupée portrait, or portrait dolls. Now, these portrait dolls she made of important figures in the community, including she made a doll of Matisse and Picasso and Apollinaire. But this is a self-portrait doll that she made of herself. And as you can see, the body is extremely androgynous. If we look at this, it's hard to know whether this is male or female, and it's also influenced by African sculpture, which was really important at the time. This is in concert with a new avant-garde movement after World War I, which is called Dada, and she's doing all sorts of innovative things here. So she shows herself as an androgynous figure. Again, she's pushing the boundaries of gender, exploring this in a radical way. And this is a wonderful photograph of her and that portrait doll. There were photographs of these portrait dolls shown at the Venice Biennale 2 years ago. So it shows how important her work is today for artists who are exploring these very topics in their work now.
Fascinating stuff, Lauren. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for that. That was Dr. Lauren Jimerson, author and a Paris Muse guide. You can follow all the stories we're tracking for you here on France 24. There you can see the website for Paris Muse, the website there.
Thank you, Delano.
Thank you very
much.
More news coming up with me. Stay with us.